Hi, my name is Sarah. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hello, I'm glad to have you here. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Muse palette from VIEVE. I've had some time to play with this and I have some opinions, so I'm going to share those with you today. We're going to create a look. I've also done some swatches for you, and then at the end we'll go through and I'll give you my final thoughts. Okay, so I've went ahead and primed my eyelids and threw on some brows. I'm going to shut my phone off. The first shade that I'm going to be dipping into is Peony. I'm going to take that on a big fluffy brush and just use that to sit down my eye primer. Today I think I want to keep things pretty soft, so the first shade that I'm going to dip into is going to be Bow to really get things started. And I'm just tapping my brush down into the pan, and I don't know if you can see, but these shadows are super powdery. They're not densely packed at all, but what I do find is, as you'll see, as I start applying, they blend very, very easily. I'm applying Bow to the outer corner of my eye in an upwards motion, really concentrating in on that outer corner. I'm doing small circular motions now, and whatever's left on my brush, I'm going to bring that in right above my natural crease. Windshield wiper motion, really buffing that color out. The same over here in an upwards motion, pulling from the base of the lash line up, back and forth. Really lift the eye, and whatever's left, bring it in. I'm going to go back into Bow and build the color up a little bit more on both eyes. With this palette, I do like to do my eyes first. I've had quite a bit of time to play with it, and from my experience that is best, because the mats are so powdery, you could very easily just get little crumbles all over your face. Like, I've got a little bit going on now, but I've been pretty diligent about tapping off the excess off of my brush. I think I'm satisfied with that blend. So the next shade that I want to go into is Love. And I'm going to grab a little bit bigger of a fluffy brush, and I'm just going to dip into that color, tapping off the excess, and I want to go kind of like the second part, like the second third of your eyelid in. That's where I'm going to be placing the color down. Just start not quite into the outer corner, placing it down, windshield wiper motions, whatever's left of my brush, just feathering it out slightly. I do also find that she did a very good job with curating these colors to work together, very complementary. Because I wanted to keep everything pretty light today, I think that I'm going to keep my lid mostly bare except for the shade Divine, this light one right here. I'm going to go ahead and take my finger and press it all over my lid. Very pretty. The shimmer shades in this palette really do work best when you apply them with your finger, or you wet your brush, or you have a super sticky base like glitter glue. I'm going to take this little itty bitty brush and I'm going to dip into Divine, and I'm going to go right up underneath my brow bone. Well, this might be too shimmery for this. But who cares? Very like ethereal. Very ethereal. That's how I feel right now. Super shimmery. I'm going to go in with just a blending brush into Peony, and I'm just going to dust that right here in my inner corner, just in case there's any eye primer that's not set down right in that little crevice. Also helps to blend these edges. I'm going to do the rest of my face makeup and then we'll be back to finish up this eye look. Before I did go and do any of my face makeup, I just wanted to come a little bit closer just so you could kind of maybe get a little bit better of a look at the fallout situation. I was really diligent with the mattes, but even though I used my finger with the shimmer, I still have little specks of glitter under here. I know that that can be a deal breaker for some people, so I just thought that I would include it. Okay, we're back, zoomed all in, and we're gonna go ahead and finish up the eyes. I'm gonna take the same brush that I used to do my inner corner, I cleaned it off, dipped into some bow, and I'm gonna take this right along my lower lash line, keeping it as close to my lash line as possible. I really just want to add some definition, and I'm connecting it up right at that outer corner. Otherwise, I'm keeping it pretty close, pretty tight. Let me zoom out a little bit. I'm leaning over a little too much. If I can work my camera. Alright, that's a little better. Because I'm hunched over. I don't know why. I just am. Sorry. And now that I've placed a bow down, I'm going to take a flat shader brush. I'm just going to use the very tip because it's a little fluffy. And I'm going to dip into a little bit of Love and a little bit of Source. I'm going to go back and forth and mix the two colors, top off any excess, and I'm going to go right along the lower lash line, connecting it with the outer corner till about the halfway point. And then I think I'm good. Sparkle. I'm really bringing that color a little bit lower, almost to I don't know, accentuate my eye bag. Take a little pencil brush and go into Divine. I'm going to take that just right there along the bottom part of my inner quarter. Go over any spots that I feel like I've lost a little shimmer. Okay, I like how things are looking. I'm going to go ahead and curl my lashes, and then I'll be back with some mascara on. And so this is how we're looking with just mascara on. And honestly, I don't think that I'm going to add any lashes. I really like the bright white, pink, sparkly, glittery, ethereal thing that I've got going on. Here are swatches of the Muse palette from VIEVE. Left to right, we have the shades at Peony, Finery, Mystic, Regal, Bow, Divine, Love, Source, Merlot, and Velvet. Here we are back all done. My whole face is completed. I'll have everything that I used today. I'll link it down below in the description box for your convenience, of course. Now, we're going to talk about my feelings about this palette. Do I think it's worth it? Do I think maybe you should pass if you haven't purchased it? I really do like this palette. I think the shades are good staple shades. I'm sure that you may have these in other palettes that you already own. For instance, if you have the Natasha Denona Retro palette, a lot of the looks that I've created with this VIEVE Muse palette, I can easily create with my Retro palette. The only thing that is missing is a gold shade. It has all of these other like mauve-y, pinky, cool tone, grungy shades. The Retro palette has that. So I could have passed on this, but I'm glad that I picked it up. I did enjoy testing out the formula. And what I can say is the mattes were a little bit more powdery than I had expected. I would say on a scale, if you're comparing it to another brand, I would say that they're less powdery than ABH, like the standard ABH formula and like the Modern Renaissance, Jackie Aina, Carly Bible type palettes. I would say that they're probably a little less powdery than that. The quality of the shimmer shades are good. I mean, I would have liked to see a little bit more impact and a little bit more staying power with them. I feel like they do wear really quickly, and to keep them around longer, you have to go in with something extra like a glitter glue, which, I mean, to each their own. If you feel like doing that, that's on you. Sometimes I don't want to have to do that. If I'm in a rush, I don't want to have to worry about putting on glitter glue too to keep the shadow on. But you can definitely make it work. Shimmer shade that I think that I had the most issue with was Regal. I just found that like the shimmer just really didn't pop. Not the same way that it did in like my swatches. And as far as like the mattes, I feel like they were all consistently good, really, except for the shade Velvet. Now, when I was using the shade the other day, it was kind of like blending away and just like picking up with the air and disappearing on the outer corner of my eye, which that I wasn't too pleased with. But other than that, I've had a positive experience with this palette, and I've created some really pretty looks, like this one I did today. And when comparing the price of this to something like Natasha Denona, I think that this was like, I want to say 57, 58 euros maybe? And I'm not really sure what the conversion rate is. I have to check my credit card statement, but that would take too long for us today. Well, when you compare that price to like a $65 midi palette from Natasha, and then you compare the quality of the shadows, I'd rather get a Natasha palette, honestly. I really do think VIEVE is like a really up and coming brand. I think that they've got the good aesthetic, they've got the vibe, and they've got good ideas. I think Jamie's done a great job so far. But this palette, I mean, you're not missing much in my opinion. Do I think that you should run out and buy it? No, but if you're looking at this and you've been pining and pining and pining, it's not horrible. It's a good palette. It's a good palette with staple shades. It's nothing revolutionary. You may actually already have these colors in your collection. So that kind of choice, I'm leaving it up to you. Giving you my thoughts, opinions, and my insights into my experiences with Miss Muse. And you can make the decision on whether or not you want to purchase it for yourself. But I really hope that you enjoyed today's video. I hope that you enjoyed the look that we created, the swatches, and the little chit chat that we had about this palette. If you're new and you haven't subscribed yet, I would really encourage you to subscribe and stick around for future content. And don't forget to give this video a like if you enjoyed as well, because that helps me reach more people who love makeup just like me and you. So I hope everybody has a good day, and I'll see you next time. Bye guys.